Hello, Mr. Farrell.
Hello. I've been very verbose offline. Now I'm going to be verbose online.
Go.
Um, well, I got all these thoughts in my head, man. It's like, the difference from our one time, three times, six time promos um, to the yearly. So it's myfootballcamps.com/D1 promo. It's right below my name. It's different, and I like it, and I'll tell you why, because it's more interactive. So we've got a few people that have signed up for this so far, and I've had a few of those clients, send me a DM with a video, of their son working out or putting up, and it was something they tweeted themselves, and I'll retweet it and quote tweet it. A couple of kids, you know, uh, Cash Ferris from Arkansas got a couple camp offers, including Notre Dame, to come and show what he can do at camps. He would have never in a million years gotten that without this, and it's pretty immediate. And so, he's asking me this, that, and the other, and I'm giving this advice, and I'm not going to give the advice for free here, but the advice I gave him was perfect, pristine advice. How to get, you can go to the Notre Dame camp, and there's a 99% chance you won't get noticed, with this little secret if it works, and I'm not saying it's going to work for him, but with this strategy, there's a 99% chance he will get noticed. That doesn't mean he's going to be a Notre Dame scholarship kid. The Cordero kid, Will Cordero, the quarterback from California, is a walk-on for SMU now. But if you get a walk-on
Well,
offer from Notre Dame and you had nothing, then you got decisions. Do I go FCS? Do I go Notre Dame? Like, so strategy-wise, and then Tanner Huckfeld, our quarterback from Houston, 2025 quarterback from Houston, he's being invited now to a lot more quarterback camps for exposure wise. And he's DMing me and saying, should I do this? He's getting college camp invitations too, but he's asking me advice on each one of them. And, initially when we started this process, we said we weren't going to reach out to schools, and we're not going to. And we weren't really here to advise, but advice is simple. He sends me, Tanner sends me something. He goes, what about this? Should I go to this combine to try to get an invitation to this camp? And my answer is no. You're a quarterback. Combines are for testing. In my experience with our camps at Rivals for 10 years, we had combines Saturday and camp Sunday. We never invited quarterbacks unless they look 6'4", 225. We never heard of them. But if you're a 5'11" or 6 foot quarterback, 185, you're going to test and run like a 5'0", 40. You're never going to get invited. It's a complete waste of your time. Now it's free. So if you got that weekend free, do it, but don't expect to be invited. But then there's a quarterback, group that wants to have him come and throw. They're legitimate, but they're charging X amount of dollars. And so I say, this is it. You spend this amount, this is what you're going to get from it. If you're looking for notoriety, you're not going to get it from this. If you're looking to throw
what is
against,
that? Explain that one. What is that? A
so
camp that you're gonna?
I, it's a quarterback camp, right? And
Okay.
I don't really honestly remember the name. I looked into it. It's not the Elite 11, right? But it's
Right.
it's
Right.
a quarterback specific camp. And I looked at some of the kids that have gone there. It's not Steve Clarkson, it's not Elite 11, it's not this, that, and the other.
Oh, so it's more
But I look,
instructional.
yeah, but you're throwing against other kids, and I looked at some
Okay.
of the
Okay.
kids that have come through there this year, um, and they're 3 stars. And so this is a 2025 kid, Tanner Huckfeld from Houston, who doesn't have any stars, played half of his last varsity season, won the starting job at the end of the year. He's never thrown against 3 stars to my knowledge, or if he has, he should do it more. But he's got to weigh that. I say, you go to this camp, you're going to pay their amount, the fee, and I won't say the fee. You're going to have to pay that money. And I said, you're not going to get any notoriety out of it. They're not going to say, oh my gosh, this kid from Houston, blah, blah, blah. That's not a notoriety camp. It's a competition camp. And there's two different types of camps. There's notoriety and competition. Um, we provide the notoriety. People have already heard about Tanner Huckfelt now who had never heard of him before, and we're going to continue to push him out for a 1 year plan. The competition, I said, it won't hurt you to throw against those 3 stars to see how you stack up, to see how you compete with them. Maybe you'll win an award, or maybe you'll get some kudos, and you could say, I was in the same camp as this 3 star kid committed to Iowa State, and I outthrew him. That will help you. But you're not going to get notoriety from it. So advice like that, it's real simple for me to give. And that's what's been happening with the 1 year, which is why I like it more. Now, I'm not going to be able to answer questions every day for 365 days, but easy questions, I'll get back to you. Now, once this program becomes big and we got hundreds and hundreds of clients, then it'll get a little bit tough. But right now, it's kind of like for $100, you're getting to DM me. I'm giving you direct answers. You're also getting notoriety. You're getting everything out of it. So that's kind of the difference that I've noticed. And people are more, so the sales process, people are more apt to do something over a time period than a numerical number. It's 6 months or 6 times for 1,000 versus a year for 1,000. People are obviously going to want the year for 1,000 to be more inclined to do that because it's very open-ended. We could promote that player 30 times over a year, whereas
Right.
the 6 is kind of finite. So I find there's more of a buzz going around about it, and there's more people reaching out to me about it. There's still, obviously money issues everywhere in the world and in the country. I get it, but I think it's one of those things where it's a lot more than you're paying for, and that's what's happened with our latest clients.
That's very cool. That was a mouthful, and it's definitely it's interesting to see. So that shift. So we soft launched it, right? Because it didn't officially go like it has its own its own landing page, but it's not boom on the site where anyone can get to it. And I think I think one more week of that is pretty good because we'll have that completely mapped out, and then we could, if we want, replace the other one with this one and on the site. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're gonna
Or
have to. I think we're gonna
yeah,
have to.
yeah.
And we got kids that have signed up for the 6 month, and they're maybe 4 months in. So you carry them another 4 months.
Oh,
You
of
know,
course, yeah.
we always give them more than they expect. But I think moving forward, the membership plan is kind of what people are more apt to be comfortable with.
Right. There's less pressure on getting something done immediately for them. They don't feel that pressure each month getting us stuff. And as they get it, they can get it to us, and then we can create the content off of it versus being in a situation where if they for some reason one month they don't have any content, which could happen, um, then we have to repeat something or splice something that may be old, right? So this allows us to keep it fresh. If there's a month that we really are just commenting on the athlete and just saying, hey, so and so's attending these camps. That's as if there's no video content out on them, but then when we get video content, we certainly can, and it's a great combination of everything, which I think is really good.
And the second part of it is I've had discussions with parents who are asking these questions, and they've been asking this since the beginning, and they asked Coach Manis as well. I'm spending X amount of dollars on these camps, and so I had one where, one parent sent their kid to an FBU camp and said it was a lower price than I think it probably was, because FBU camps, in my memory, were pretty expensive. Maybe they're cheaper now, but either way, or a $600. We had the $600 camp question that we went around an email. I want kids to compete, but I don't want them to pay money that they would be paying for promotion to compete. So if you're going to drop $200 on a camp, um, don't waste your money on that if you're looking for notoriety. Like I said, there's two different types of camps. I consider your camps to be competition camps. If I wasn't working with you at all and someone asked me, should I go to an NUC camp? I would say you go there for competition. Okay. Now, notoriety, you give out a lot of awards. You give out way too many awards, honestly, cost wise. Cost you an arm and a leg. We did the numbers on Winterfest, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. So, anyways, but you get that award, and then you could say, I'm a defensive line MVP at NUC. Some of them give one award, the whole camp, or two awards the whole camp. You're giving positional awards. You're also giving out medals, so kids can come out of there and gain notoriety to an extent by putting on their own Twitter saying, I was a D-line MVP at Schuman's camp. again, but that's going out to what? Their 300, 400 followers, and it's kind of sitting there. But there's good competition. The camps are run well. So go there. Now, again, because you partner with me, you're going to see kids that you're going to say, hey, this kid's a D1 promo candidate. We had a few at Winterfest. And we talk to them and they sign up and they're going to reap the benefits of that. So you become more of a competition / notoriety camp because of what
Right.
we're doing here. But if I weren't working with you, I wouldn't say don't waste the money. I would tell you what to do based on what you want. Do you want competition? Do you want to go to a camp that's well run, where you're going to get coached up and you're going to compete against other kids that are hard workers? Then yeah, pay the money to go to that. Do you want notoriety? You should take that money and put it towards the promo, because that's what we provide. We don't provide competition, you and I, in this promotion. We provide notoriety. And so if you're taking money and putting them into camps, but you want notoriety, you're putting your money into the wrong place. Now, if you want a combination, because this one parent that I spoke to wanted a combination for her son. He wanted to compete and get better, but he also wanted notoriety. Well, budget it out. Don't put all your money into competition and none into, exposure. Mix it up.
Right.
So that's kind of what the question I get a lot there. And I will be blatantly honest. We had one parent ask about $600 to a particular camp that was popular 10, 12 years ago, but isn't anymore, and they're still promoting themselves as if they were, a hot commodity as they were 12 years ago, and they're not. And the honest answer is nope. That's $600 for a competition camp to me is too much. I mean, yours are cheaper, obviously much cheaper than that. They're a quarter of the cost. Take that $600, sign up for 6 months, you're going to get much more notoriety. So that's kind of the juggle. As a parent, I don't have endless funds. I can't just.
Well, I think we're also combining it all, which is good, right? So the fact that we're providing notoriety with the promo, the fact that we have a ranking system, the fact that we have camps, now we can get you through the system and giving you all the things that you want, right? As much as we can without being a college, right? So the only thing that we are not, obviously, is the University of Texas handing out a scholarship, right? We're going to get you everything that gets you to the points those University of Texas or whatever level you're at notices you, so you can get the final step, which is them to give you an offer or whatever level you are, get you in a position to get an offer. If you choose that you want to walk, whatever that is. So that's the whole goal. And I think that's the really beauty of it, is putting these things together with the promo is so essential, because the really nice thing about it is most people love our camps, but they might want to do something different, or we don't have a camp in their area. You're not limited by what camps I run, right? The promo has zero limitations to it. Zero limitations. So we can take your film from another camp. We could take your huddle links. We could splice it with our promotion, how we do our videos. We could retweet stuff that the Enlos are the best at this. Where we retweet their stuff. Like, they're really good at tagging us, because they're in the program, sending us the content. I'll splice some of their videos and do stuff on it. Like, I just did one for Chase the other day. I like seeing him do something other than his running back stuff. So I was like, oh, let me do something here to show his athleticism, and splice with that, because I saw the video. But we could take that and just retweet that too. So we don't have to do it. There's a lot of things, because we're leveraging the reach we have, and that's the key component of all of it. Is our reach is significantly wider than anybody else's, including most 5-stars. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, most
all
5-stars.
There's no 5-star
Right.
that has hundreds of thousands of followers. None. They got maybe 12.
Because it's cumulative over these years. So now the college coaches seeing this content. One of the comments I got, I can't remember school now. I don't even know if I told you, but a coach tweeted me and he said, "I love your content. I watch all of it. I watch all of it. It's a college coach. I watch all of it because there are things that he's an as FCS coach. There are things that come through as an FCS coach that they may not be able to get information on from other places because just understanding FCS, right? Their scholarships would have 65, right? Most of the scholarship ones.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 65 scholarships to offer, but in a lot of cases, they're waiting for guys to fall through the cracks, right? If they can get ahead of it and realize, hey, this guy is probably going to fall through the cracks, right? He's on the fringe. He's better maybe than the level he's getting recruiting at, but we can get him early and he's not going to be going to Power 5 school. That's really powerful. And so those coaches be able to get that information because here's what happens in recruiting. The first step in a lot of these things when a kid, and correct me if I'm wrong, when a kid tweets out, I don't know, what he did at a camp or at a 7-on-7. I just hosted a big 7-on-7 tournament at a 7-on-7 tournament. What happens is that the GAs, in a lot of cases, they might look at some of these kids, but some of the GAs are going to be able to look and analyze, but most of them are just filtering. And they're basically like, don't bring it to me. The positional coach, the coordinator, they're going to be like, don't bring a guy to me unless he's a wow. So they don't want to get fired their first, second year in recruiting. And they're going through it and like, who's not going to get me fired? Who's not? Oh, there's one that's not going to get me fired. Boom. But most of you do not fall into that category. 99% of you probably don't fall into that wow, wow, wow category. But we're able to put your stuff out there, and now they're seeing not just a really good clip or two, but a thing something else that you did, something you did at the camp. And it's over and over and over again. And over time, they're like, this is a guy we could look at. And the second thing is positional coaches and coordinators are following us. I would say Matt Rule follows me. Odell Beckham, obviously not a coach. Odell Beckham follows me. Like, how many prospects have those guys following them? I could run through the list of guy after guy after guy. Kyle Flood, who's the line
Line
coach of
coach at
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Texas. I mean, one by one after one. Those are from relationships over all these years. Coach Campanelli, who was at Rutgers and now is at Syracuse, right?
Syracuse.
He went to Syracuse. Yeah, Syracuse. Um, Coach Halfley, right, who's at Boston College. And I mean, yours is, and listen, as expansive as mine is, yours is going to be maybe twofold. I tell kids this all the time. If there's a contact I don't have, okay, the first guy I reached out to, and I reached out to you when because a high school coach had needed somebody. I said, hey, I need contact on this coach and this coach, and they were both gigantic Power 5 guys. In 2 seconds, that was sent over to me. There is nobody outside of a college coach that can do that other than you. I mean, that's just the truth because it's years of relationships. It doesn't
Yeah, I
even
know the
matter
ones.
where they
I know the ones that don't follow me. I don't know the ones that
right.
follow me. I know the ones that don't. That's how many follow me because it's like, okay, Dabo Swinney doesn't follow me, and he's not a Twitter guy, but
Right.
it upsets me. Lincoln Riley doesn't follow me at USC. Now his entire staff does, but he doesn't. Kind of upsets me. Saban's not on Twitter. But Venables does, and so that's okay with me. In Oklahoma, Texas, Sark does. That's okay with me. But I know the ones that don't, and there's just I can name them on maybe 2 hands, maybe I don't know. So and to your point, I can get to anybody. Not that I'm going to. Like if a
Right.
kid signs up for the promo and says, "Hey, can you get me Sark's number?" I'm like, "No, not gonna do that." We had a
No, I'm not
client.
sharing that. Right.
Well, we had a client ask us to get in touch with the head coach of a specific school. Like, no, I'm not doing that. But to your point is, back to the camps real quick. We offer 2 camps included in the 1 year of your camp.
Right.
So you get competition and exposure. And back to the GA thing, it's kind of interesting because if you're a kid and you've got 300 followers and you tweet out something, no GA on earth is going to ever see that. It's never going to hit their algorithm, not in a million years. If a company, VTO is one of the examples, or and you see, that runs camps and are legitimate, have been in the business for a while. If they put out a highlight or an all-star, like you put out the top performers at Winterfest and stuff like that, GAs will see that because they follow you, they follow them. At that point, they're still going to be a little hesitant to bring it to anybody. Maybe they'll follow the kid, or maybe they'll do this and that and the other. The thing that I found about this that I've been told by coaches is, I've always taken the blame for everything. I've always complained about for everything. I've been that way for 25 years. People just like to bitch about my rankings, me as a person, whatever. So a GA will see something on my timeline and he will feel comfortable. He'll feel comfortable to go to the recruiting coordinator or the head football coach. And the head football coach might say, where the hell did you see this? I'll say Mike Farrell's feed. You're never going to get in trouble as a GA for doing that, ever. That coach may say, well, he's an ass. I don't like him at all, or he's an idiot. Or the coach might say, oh, I haven't talked to him in years. Or, let me see more. Who knows what the response is going to be, but they're never going to get in trouble for that because it's just, unfortunately, for me, it's kind of like I'm grandfathered in to where if a GA brings something and says it's from me, the coach is going to pay attention, whether it's I don't care, or let me look at it some more. It could be any of those things, but the GA can feel comfortable bringing our stuff to coaches, and especially, like I said, I mean, you covered, you've done camps for, unknown kids. You've had obviously Heisman winners at your All-Star games and stuff like that. I've been on the opposite spectrum where I'm just doing 5 stars and 4 stars for 25 years. So all these coaches follow me. Simple reason is that they've wanted news on 5 stars and 4 stars for all these years. And so they're not going to unfollow me because I still follow 5 and 4 stars. I'll still put out rumors about Dylan Raiola that I'm hearing, the number 1 player in the country 2024, whether he's leaving to USC or Georgia or Nebraska or Oregon. They still want that information, so they still follow me. I could tell you the only reason I can't tell you why Dabo doesn't follow me. I can tell you the reason Lincoln Riley doesn't follow me is because he's a super, super, super sensitive person and he can't take any negativity. And that's the only reason. It's not because it's me. It's just he can't handle the truth. And what truth is there? You've been to the playoffs. You're a great coach. You're making $10 million a year here at USC. I'm a nobody. But he can't do that. He's a little sensitive. So I know why they're following me. I know why they're not following me. I know they will pay attention to this stuff. Like I said, one person came to us, wanted a specific coach. I said, I'm not going to contact that coach, but you could look at his staff. He follows me, that coach, and his entire staff follows me. So if you do the promo, I'm going to put it out there. They're going to see you anyways. They don't need me texting them because they're going to see it, and then if they have any questions, they're going to ask me about it. So really, that's what you get. You get the grandfathered in notoriety and following of all the college coaches. You get the competitive side of the camps because it's included in the price. And then you get the best of both worlds. I mean, you could go to 2 NUC camps and get this promotion for a year for $1,000, and you're thinking about spending $600 on some camp, and you can get an invitation to an all-star game. That's another kid asked me who's probably going to sign up this week. He's like, well, do the NUC camps have an opportunity to earn a spot in an all-star game? Yeah. And it's not the kid's fault he doesn't know that, but that's what these other things are selling. Right. Come here for $600, you can go to our all-star game. Well, come here for $1,000, you get 2 free camps, you get a year of promotion and notoriety, and you can go to an all-star game as well. So it's really like we're so cheap, people are asking me questions and their money's being stolen from them by, if that person who emailed us pays $600 for that camp, they're robbing your money. When you could get 6 months, and the 6 month comes with 1 free camp, you get 6 months from us. It's just not even comparison. So that's where the confusion is right now. That's why I like the 1 year and the 6 month, because it doesn't sound like we're selling a limited thing. It's open-ended. 6 months could be 50 promos. It could be, 6 promos. It really depends on how much new content we get. Whereas 6 was 6. So that's the difference now. And I think it's much more attractive to people who want to purchase it.
I agree. It's funny you say about the camps. I had a person I went to school with that a kid, they reached out to me and asked me, I think, about that same exact camp. And I'm like, well, what are you going there for? If you're going there to have fun and learn at a summer football camp, that's great. I mean, I run those too locally. Those are great. They're absolutely great. Um, but it was a high school kid, and they were like, "Well, we're looking for a little more than that." I'm like, "Well, that's not what you're going to get at that. You're going to get, yeah, you'll get some instruction. I don't know what the coaching's like, or it is how it is, or it isn't, but um, it what it's confused from because perfect. You familiar with Perfect Game in baseball?
Yep.
You ever heard of it?
Hmm.
They have done in the baseball circuit and I think we're almost going to get to that point, once we figure out how it all works for us as far as how we combine it with our promo. Well, Perfect Game kind of loops that in. That's why they started doing like, all the profiles on their players in baseball and stuff like that come through their thing. And then they built their own facilities and stuff, or partnered with companies that have their own facilities. And it's like a Perfect Game facility, even though it's owned by somebody else, but they kind of so baseball started that niche, but the negative side of it is that it's so expensive. Perfect Game stuff. A lot of their bigger camps. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars for the weekend. That some people who have done that stuff and now are in football are thinking that you need to do all these things, but in football it's different. All these other things are not going to get you a full package. Whereas what we're providing is, from a promotion standpoint, a full package and the ability to go. And oh, by the way, you'll be able to go to camps. And oh, by the way, you'll be able to go to all-star games if you so want to. But the key is the promotion aspect of it. And I think that's one of the things that's unique about what we're doing. We're starting to offer that approach that gives you what you need in this system. Now, listen, if you're a sixth grader and you're still looking to go to camps, yeah, that's a completely different thing. But once you want to get the promotion aspect, this will be a good way for you to be able to get the promotion from the right people and leverage the platform. That's the whole thing. It's like leveraging a bigger platform. Why do people who are influencers, who have thousands of followers, I'm outside of our industry, other industries, okay? I don't know, fashion, right? Why do people pay them to be able to promote a product? Well, they pay them to be able to promote a product because they have a bigger reach. Because if that person themselves promoted that product without a reach, they would go nowhere. So this is leveraging the reach to promote your product, which is you in this case, which is you.
And, you know, it's the hundreds of thousands of followers that we have. It's not just, the way to get to coaches is kind of, it's roundabout. So I've talked to a lot of clients that have come on board recently, and it's always weird, because they ask me, when you have a conversation, like, where are you from? I said, born and raised in Connecticut. Oh, my wife's father played at UConn. Or my, brother worked up in New Haven. Or my, sister's cousin lived there. Connecticut, small place, right? Small world. But that's part of it. So you're not just getting to coaches, you're getting to people, and human beings know human beings. You may get to somebody who follows me who may be the brother-in-law of the secondary coach at Wake Forest, who happens to be best friends with the running back coach at App State, and you may be a running back, and that may trickle that way. It, but it would never happen. It's almost like that, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type of thing. Like, it would never happen if you don't get that. So when I'm thinking about fashions, like, let's say you got 1 million followers. Most of those people are interested in fashion. Um, the majority of them are following for that particular reason. Well, everybody's following us for football, and people know people in football. And they may know somebody that maybe the offensive lineman, maybe Kyle Flood, who follows us, uh, maybe Texas is way out of your league, but he's a Jersey guy, and maybe he knows somebody at I'm trying to think of a really small school, not really small, but like a Sacred Heart or something like that, who's looking for an offensive lineman, who's his buddy. And he's like, well, I saw this kid. He's not Texas caliber, but you might like him, and he's from your neck of the woods. People talk to people all the time, and it's a small little network. So you just don't know. That's why, constant promotion and putting it out there, you might hit somebody different each time. And there's two different levels. There's luckily this time around we're getting more kids over a year away from their signing date. When we started, we were getting a lot of 2023s in June, and it was hard. Now we're getting some 2024s, but we got time, and there's more notoriety to this program. So I feel more successful that a 2024 can be successful with us, especially if they come on board now in the spring, which is an important spring-summer evaluation. Some people have said, well, I'll sign up during the season. No, if you're 2024, it's too late. Now, you need the 6 months now leading up to the season more than you need 6 months from the season to the end of the season. You need it now. And I'll tell them that. And they don't know that. They have no idea. But the other part of it, too, is we're getting some 2025, but we're also getting some 2027s, 28s, 29s. And it depends. Do you want to get on the radar early? And do you want, maybe sometimes you want an option for a high school. Maybe you want to be recruited by a private school in New Jersey or in Pennsylvania or Maryland or whatever. Or do you want to get on the radar, as you get close to signing day? So different options here. All of it helps. None of it hurts. You're never, ever going to get anything that's done that is going to hurt you. It may not work the way you want it to. I mean, maybe some of our clients dreamed of a Power 5 scholarship offer, and they ended up with a Power 5 walk-on offer. That hasn't really happened to my knowledge, but maybe. But they got more than they had when they arrived. And that's always going to happen. There's guaranteed you're going to be better off with the promo than if you don't do it. Guaranteed. Not I can't say guaranteed because that's a money back type of thing. Just trust me, it's going to help you. Period.
Well, it's going to make a big difference. There's no doubt about it. The whole key is just this. I mean, you look at the track record of the kids that we worked with and what's happening, and everybody's go somewhere. I mean, and the majority of them actually went to Division I, right? But I mean, everybody's going somewhere. So that's the
surprising too, right? So I
yeah.
gotta tell you, like Will Fierro, good player, right? Did one promotion with us, one timer, and we kept talking, to his mom about doing more and all this other stuff. If you had told me he would be a walk-on candidate at SMU when they did one promo, not in a million years. I think he was a good player. But you're talking one time to go to SMU, and again, I get it's walk on, but my goodness, nobody knew about the kid. It surprises me sometimes what happens. Like I'm still dumbfounded by some of it. Hartman being displaced from Texas, now being a preferred walk on at Oregon State. Oregon State won, 10 games last year? They beat the crap out of Florida. They got a really good offensive line. That kid's going to get a chance to compete for a scholarship at a Power 5 school when nobody knew him when he was in Texas before he came to us. I'm still dumbfounded.
The big time QB transfer, too, right? Didn't they have what's his name going there now?
Who's that?
From Clemson, did he go there or no?
Oregon State, yeah. DJ Uwangalele is going there now. Yeah. I mean, they're a big deal. Jonathan Smith, the coach there, has done a great job. I mean, Oregon State's one of the hardest places to recruit and win at. Mike Riley did a really good job there. Before that, the dude at Miami, what was his name? He went up there and he went JUCO thug. It was awesome. I mean, they were like really, really badass team, but being successful there for a long term.
Dennis Erickson.
Yeah, it's not USC. I mean, it's not even Oregon. Right. So to be successful there, Jonathan Smith did a tremendous job there, and and now Sam gets to compete for a scholarship there. And again, like I said, I mean, at the beginning of the process, we were hoping to land him at a JUCO, so that he could,
Right.
take that step there. And now so I get surprised, and it pleasantly surprised each time. So, that was a big surprise when Fierro popped into that DM and said, I got to walk on at SMU. I'm like, whoa, you know, and that's, so he was a one-time, there's not going to be that option, anymore.
Right.
Pretty much soon. We're not going to do the option for one time. It's going to be 6 month minimum. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, that it just works. It's surprisingly better than I thought it would.
There's no doubt. It's working fantastically well. I actually don't even want to shift gears, but should we shift gears for 5 minutes?
Yeah, because I got we've been on for 35, so let's wrap it up around 40. We could shift gears to, I guess, I mean, we talked about free agency. We talked about Lamar Jackson last week, and, something just came in, notification came in that I don't know why it even came in that the Panthers are not focused on Lamar Jackson. Of course they're not. And this is the problem. He's like,
No
he
one
wants
is.
to,
No one
well,
is.
he wants $200+ million guaranteed money. And we already talked last week about, potentially injury prone and wheels on the tires and all that good stuff. But listen, if you're Carolina, let's say you pay $230 million to Lamar, you're not moving the needle. You need a rebuild. That's a blow up rebuild. And it's not Rule's fault. But they're in bad shape, So yeah, you can get a quarterback like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud at $8 million a year for his first 4 years with a 50-year option, as opposed to someone who wants $50 million a year guaranteed. No, but Aaron Rodgers is the topic that we were talking about off air. So what's happened is, Green Bay is not going to be held hostage by him anymore, and they were held hostage by Brett Favre every year. If you remember, he was trying to decide whether he's going to retire every year. It was annoying. Now Rodgers going to the darkness retreat and all that stuff. So they told him, we don't want you anymore. And he came out on the McAfee show and said that he wants to go to the Jets. And so now Green Bay's like, oh, well, hold on here. You're still our player. Like, we got to trade you. You're not a free agent. You can't just say, I want to go to the Jets. So now they're asking for a little bit more than I think they feel they can get. Favre, I believe, went to New York for like a fourth round pick. And I don't think that was I don't remember the order. I don't know if he went from Green Bay to New York to Minnesota. I can't remember. But the compensation for a quarterback that age is kind of like a third round pick. I think they're asking for more than that from the Jets. I think the Jets might be desperate enough to do it. Jordan Love's going to be the quarterback at Green Bay now. I think Green Bay is going to struggle, but they're going to be free now. And if they can get lucky and Jordan Love turns into a Hall of Fame quarterback like Favre and Rodgers, then they're the luckiest franchise ever. So they're going to be in better shape. I don't think he moves the needle for the Jets. The AFC is too strong. Even that division, Miami, Buffalo, New England, I don't even know if the Jets can get out of that division with a playoff berth.
You don't think Aaron Rodgers would make that big of a difference?
They have a good defense. They got some parts. Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. They got a couple good running backs. The offensive line's okay. But, okay. I mean, the Bills are going to make the playoffs, right?
Yes.
New England's going to push. They fell short this year. We don't know how good they're going to be now that he's got a real offensive coordinator coming in there. Bill O'Brien, Mac Jones. But they're going to push. The Dolphins made the playoffs last year. If Tua stays healthy, they're going to push. Then let's say you make the playoffs. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Buffalo, Jacksonville with T-Law. I could probably name 5 or 6 better teams than the Jets with Aaron Rodgers that they will probably, if they go to the playoffs, lose in round 1. So what difference is he making? Then get him to the playoff and lose in round 1? That's not a difference to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, isn't that what happened with Favre, basically?
I think he got there a couple times. I
Did
don't
he?
remember.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to remember. He was better in Minnesota. So I can't remember if he went to Green Bay to Minnesota to the Jets or if it was Green Bay to the Jets to Minnesota. But I will tell you this. Brett Favre made no difference to either of those franchises. I mean, can you think of like Brett Favre making a run towards the Super Bowl with the Jets or Vikings? No. And I
No,
love
I think
Rodgers
that's
as a player. He's a great player, but I don't see them, unless everything falls together, and I don't see it. And maybe there's injuries. Maybe Mahomes gets hurt or Burrow gets hurt or Allen gets hurt. I just don't see them breaking through to the point where it's worth. Now they don't have a quarterback. White just went to Miami. Zach Wilson sucks, so they're a little desperate. Um, so I don't think he's just going to make a difference enough. I think he'll get him the playoffs, but Aaron Rodgers going there and proving Green Bay wrong and leading them to a Super Bowl berth would be really, really surprising.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. What do you think about all the? So I saw a lot, so much movement between some of the good teams like the Eagles and them like so many Eagles players leaving. Do you think that will affect I mean, Buffalo lost a couple of guys too, but do you think that'll affect their overall roster? Like I saw some of their receivers leaving, and why is that?
They kept Slay, which was really important.
Okay,
Now Chauncey Gardner Johnson's pissed off because he wants that money too. They kept Fletcher Cox. Um, Everybody's going to lose players, just the way it is. You can't pay them all under the cap. I think the Eagles are going to be fine. They lost Miles Sanders. That was
right.
not a great loss for them. But they always went 3 running backs deep, anyways. He never really gave Sanders like 24 carries or something like that. I think they'll be fine. I think everybody's just losing people. It's really going to be the 1 or 2 key additions that get you over the top. Like does Jalen Ramsey, make the difference for the Dolphins secondary to get them over the top? I don't think it's as much who you lose. Look at what Jacksonville did last year. They got Evan Ingram. They got Christian Kirk. They got who were the other? Zay Flowers. They got not Zay Flowers. They got 4 big free agent signees on offense, and that changed their entire thing. So I think the
Right.
Eagles will be fine. The Cowboys just got Brandon Cook. He's 30, he's a speed guy, but he's 30. But they're looking to get DeAndre Hopkins. I think that can make a big difference for the Cowboys. Except their quarterback sucks. So how much of a difference is it going to make? Like it really depends on the pieces you put around a particular group of players that I think is going to move the needle here. And Rodgers is going to a really hard, difficult conference. If he was going to some team in the NFC, I mean the dream would be San Fran. But if he's going to some team in the NFC, you can make the playoffs and stink. Look at it. Doesn't the one division have Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay? I mean,
Yep.
you're going to win that division and make the playoffs. All 4 of those teams are horrible. I mean, Tampa Bay made it last year with a 1 over 500 record, I think. So, but the AFC, that's not the way life works. So I just think, it's really going to be difficult for him to move the needle there. And I don't worry about the Eagles. I think they're in really good shape. I think the Chiefs are in good shape. The Bengals are in good shape. It's really, San Fran's in good shape. They got the quarterback question. I don't know. I think the same power teams from this year are going to be the same ones next year.
Well, that doesn't go for a lot of parity. Before I let you go, I want your now we got the Sweet 16 because at least this is the one thing that is somewhat interesting in sports right now. I don't think it's
Mm-hmm.
as interesting to me as it used to be. Um, but it is the best thing out because there's nothing else really. I mean, spring ball is just kicking off, and I see Deion Sanders in a cowboy hat and telling everybody how people were raised differently when he grew up, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's got to earn their number, and a D lineman isn't going to wear, I don't know,
White Sox
one
and remember the
number
White Sox
one.
thing? It's all staged. I mean, Deion, he's on camera, walks into the weight room. Everybody's wearing black socks. Dude lifting weights wearing white. Kicks him out of the weight room, says put on black socks. All staged. So everything on this time of year for college football is arrests. Who got in trouble. The Jalen
Right.
Carter, Tony Mitchells of the world, spring football quarterback battles, but you really don't learn a lot, especially with the transfer portal. A lot of schools don't want to name their starter after the spring because the backup's going to transfer. Um, so there's not a lot of interesting stuff in college football. In college basketball, I think your team, your UConn Huskies are scary
Mm,
good because I watched them against St. Mary's. I had St. Mary's in my we have a playoff pool where you draft 8 teams, and St. Mary's was like my second or third pick, and St. Mary's is pretty good. But that 7 foot dude, so St. Mary's was driving on them all game in the first half. And then they changed their strategy, which I don't know why it wasn't their strategy in the first place. But the 7'2" dude was just in the paint all the time. And these little guards couldn't drive on him. You got this Hawkins, I think his name is, never misses a 3-pointer. When he gets on fire, he lights it up. And you've got some good inside play too. So UConn impressed me a lot. I don't know who's going to win it all. I mean, Kansas is a 1 seed lost. Purdue is a 1 seed lost. Um, Alabama looks really, really good as well. So, but my sleeper's UConn, man. I'm not rooting for him because I grew up a Boston College fan. And as a Boston College fan, you hated UConn because they beat BC every year, like every year. So I still smart from that. But I think UConn could be a real good sleeper pick if anybody wants to take the plus odds that are out there for the Sweet 16.
yeah, I love that they're first of all they have 2 big men that are really good. The freshmen, and then they have the guy who's their all-star. I can't think of his name now.
Yeah, I don't remember
Played
his
at
name either.
played at Saint Ben. He played Saint Benedict's maybe in New Jersey, but he he is just phenomenal. But and they have a 7'3" freshman center, and
That's the
I think
dude.
they're
He
utilizing
can't
him
score, but
well.
he is a good defender. And the kid you're talking about, I can't remember his last name, but he is so big and athletic. Like he can break you down 1-on-1 from the top of the key, but he can also post you up. And so with the Hawkins kid, I think that's his name, who is their sharpshooting 3-point dude. Um, they can do some damage. I mean, St. Mary's a pretty good team, and they lost their third leading scorer early in the first half to back spasms. But man, they could not hang with UConn. So UConn, I don't know who else. I guess Alabama would be the other team that I would be scared of right now. I'm sure there's others. I don't follow it that well.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
I don't know who's so good.
Well, in basketball, the other guys that are Purdue was supposed to be so good they got upset right away. The
Mm-hmm.
great story was FDU and TNEC, and then they played well, but they lost. I mean, Florida Atlantic is in the Sweet 16. That's a. Uh, I mean, to me, it's
Oh,
amazing.
Houston.
Uh,
Houston's still a one. Houston's a
Houston's
one
great.
seed
Yeah,
that's alive. Yeah.
Houston's great. Who else is still in it? The NCAA. Miami's still in it. I think Creighton's still in it. Creighton got whooped by Marquette in the. Is it still a Big East championships?
Yeah, and then Marquette
Mark,
just lost yesterday.
right? They lost it. Well, he's the greatest in my mind. Well, I'm trying to think basketball coaches that are the best.
Are you talking
I
Izzo?
feel like I feel like he's the best guy out there. It's
He's
still
good.
around.
Best one left.
He
Yeah.
yeah.
But he hasn't
Who
won in
you
a
who
long
you
time. He hasn't won in a long time.
He has something like 16 wins over higher seeds in his career, which is pretty amazing. I mean, to do that. I think Gonzaga won, right? Gonzaga
Yeah, I think so. I
won.
think they're still in it.
What's interesting is I heard somebody complain about the fact that there isn't enough blue bloods in the Sweet 16, right? And I mean, let's see. Here it is. All right, pull
Well,
it up.
UCLA is still in it, so they're a
Texas is
blue
in it.
blood.
Texas plays Xavier. Houston plays Miami. Bama obviously is great. Plays San Diego State. Creighton and Princeton. Princeton, the 15 seed.
Yep.
Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, Kansas State, Michigan State, UConn, Arkansas, UCLA, Gonzaga. So you have UCLA, and
Yeah.
then
So no
you do have
Duke,
some.
no
No
Kentucky,
Duke,
no North
no,
Carolina.
no,
Indiana's out.
no
Kansas
Kansas.
is out. Yep. So yeah, but you screw the blue bloods. I mean, Kansas won it all last year.
I know.
They recruit all 5 and 4 stars. I mean, the teams, you know, those are the ones that you root for, are the sort of sleepers of the world. And Houston has turned into a. I mean, Sampson, who coached at Oklahoma and Indiana. I mean, he's won like 32 games a year for the last 5 years. Houston's a really good program. They're not a blue blood. Phi Slamma Jamma was 100 years ago, but it's fun to see them, be successful. It's fun to see Alabama, which has been overshadowed, of course, for a million years by the football program. So you need parity, you need bloods in there, but you also need like upsets, and that's what the tournament's about. So it's fun. I don't really care. I mean, I'm in a survivor pool too, and I'm still alive, so I care about that because it's big money. But I don't care who wins. I don't give a crap. But I do know that UConn looked pretty good yesterday, and I was rooting for St. Mary's because I had them, but they just got killed. So, but we could wrap it up there. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens. Obviously, myfootballcamps.com/D1 promo. This will probably be the only option in the next couple of weeks. I'll be DMing a lot of people. You'll be DMing a lot of people. You're just not going to be unhappy with it.
Wow, it's an amazing, amazing platform. There's nothing like it. There's nothing as good as it. There's nobody has bigger reach. myfootballcamps.com/D1 promo. We're out of here. As always, you'll be able to watch this again. What we're doing each week is at 8 o'clock at night, prime time. You will get a chance if you missed something or you got part of this. We rerun this live stream so you guys can catch it again. All right.
All
So
right.
until next time, we'll see
See
you
ya.
all soon.